clicks on. Are you on? This is Coffee and Cash Deals, and I'm your host, Erik Latsha. This is a weekly show where we like to start your day with positivity and encouragement for success. So grab your coffee and join us for another great episode. Good morning, good morning, good morning. This is Erik Latsha with Honest Home Solutions and Coffee and Cash Deals. And we thank you again for another awesome Wednesday. I know it's been a little while. We wanted to bring it back full force in December. Everybody enjoyed our holidays for our Thanksgiving, and looking forward to another one coming up. But today we got a very, very special show for you. I got two returning guests that have been here before, but a lot has happened in the time frame that they were on the show. It's almost been a year for both of them. So had them both on here before, talked a lot about what they were doing, but obviously this was all before 2020. So it was all before what most people would call the craziest year to our our history, from what we can remember. But without further ado, I want to introduce these guys. Please take a minute, support these guys. They got awesome businesses, and take a minute to share this thing. Let people know we're going to talk about some really good stuff today in the real estate industry as an entrepreneur, how people were navigating through a lot of these crazy times, and what was going on, how we made decisions for the business and for ourselves and for other people. And how we made it through. And it's still going on. We're still dealing with some of the backlash. We don't even know what it's going to finally be. But definitely super excited to have Noah Starry on here. This is his Whiteboard Wednesday. So usually you'd be seeing him in front of a whiteboard this morning. But we're just gonna cut it up and talk about some different stuff. Me and Noah love just chatting and talking about it, man. I've learned a lot from him. And love his ambition and his drive. And Anthony's been doing crazy things in 2020 when most people have pulled back. He's doubled down pretty much. You know what I'm saying? So, guys, take a few minutes real quick. Introduce yourselves. Talk about who you are. Just introduce your company and go from there.
I'll let Noah go. Everybody here to see him.
So, my name's Noah Starry. I'm a local investor out of Lebanon, PA. We solely do fix and flip and buy and hold. We've done about 18-ish closed flips in the past 24 months. In the past 12 months, we acquired 16 rental units and a 5-office commercial building where our office is located. But yeah, I've done some deals with Erik, man. Actually, so the one on 11th Street, bro, home run. We made 32 off of that. I told you 105. We sold it for 117. Yeah, man. So yeah.
I tried to leave it on the bone, bro.
Yo, bro, dude. It was getting a little. I'm not gonna lie. It was a little scared on that one. So the foundation was was collapsed underneath.
Really?
Yeah. So like that, I was like, oh man, we're gonna kill the budget, blah blah. I got an engineer out there and literally brand new. We put a brand new kitchen subfloor. Shotcrete, you ever hear of that for pools?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. We put rebar up. They came in with this huge hose, and literally, like, dude, it's crazy. It's like this. The dude literally holds it, puts his foot, like he puts like a big bar on the ground and puts his foot there and just sprays it. And that was it. Yeah, and there it was, brand new foundation for this house. So the people who bought it, got a brand new foundation and things like that. But yeah, so we're based out of Lebanon. We've ventured in other counties. We've done Lancaster County, Dauphin County. Never done York. Would love to get out here eventually, do a deal with Erik. But
without a doubt, man.
So yeah, we do a little bit of wholesaling. Not really. We're old school. We double close. We buy something and we think we can make a little bit off of it. But I like to hold. I'm huge in our community. Increase the value. So we like to fix and flip, push home ownership because there's a lot of rentals out there. So check us out. Ask for Noah. Facebook, Instagram, and our website www.askfornoah.com. If you're interested, we got our DTF down to flip shirts. You can hit up our business page, $15 a piece.
Come on, dog. Let's try to. I'm trying to get one, but you got.
I know, bro.
Trade you.
I know, bro.
I'll trade you tees here, bro. A little Houseaholics joint for a DTF.
I'm with some merchandise.
Yeah,
I love it.
And how about you, Anthony? Just take a few minutes, introduce yourself.
My name is Anthony Moore. Last time Eric and I chatted, had one business that was the Eden Mandate LLC, where we just, look at trying to help homeowners out of distressful situations and help folks who are, kind of been shunned by the financial institutions find a path to home ownership through either, lease to own or owner financing. When COVID hit, obviously the business, real estate business was going well. I acquired a few properties. I learned how to utilize my IRA to become a private lender, as well as to be able to, mortgage properties as well. So I did a couple of mortgage properties out of the IRA. So just kind of building my, my credibility and knowledge base on the financial lending services side. That's ultimately where I want to be. And when COVID hit, we started looking around like, all right, we see things are shutting down. There's this category of workers called essential workers. And I started thinking about, okay, now what opportunities exist to be able to capitalize? Because, you hate any type of pandemic or war or anything like that. But if you look back over history, you guys know that there's a select few people with an entrepreneurial mindset that always seem to capitalize, when there's a lot of, tumultuous current in the nation. So we started looking and, I got with a partner and we decided to start Fab Group Logistics, was the trucking company, right? Because no matter what you're in, whether it be healthcare or whether it be, any type of sale, whatever product that you have that you're selling, healthcare, whether it be food, everything comes on a truck. And so we knew that, having a trucking business in the middle of a pandemic, it would be a gold mine. And obviously, it's a lot of things to learn in that process. The partnership didn't quite work out, so now I'm the sole owner. Fab Group Logistics. We got 2 trucks in the fleet right now, looking to grow that and expand. After our cash out refi of our Bergman Street property, we have enough money to buy a couple more trucks, get some drivers in. And then the third business that just started off was Four Squares Development. So just like Noah was saying, we know there's a lot of blighted communities here and around York, specifically in the city. And so I got with a partner, my man Fred Walker, shout out to him. We decided to get with the city. We formed our group. We're working with York College to go and, increase home ownership. So we looked at some of the areas that are the most blighted. The home ownership percentile is 30% or less. And so, our premise is let's go and create economic development opportunities for some of York's historically disadvantaged residents, bring them into the pot to help renovate and force the appreciation of areas, help local businesses, as well as force the appreciation of property values and home ownership. So that's kind of what I've been up to for the last year.
That's wild, man. That's so awesome, man. You went from one company to 3.
Yeah.
They all feed each other.
Yeah, they do.
Exactly.
Exactly.
And trucking company been as great as you thought it was going to be when you made the decision?
No, I mean,
You want to get a trucking company, think twice a little bit.
what they don't tell you, man, is like, they say big trucks, big bucks, right? So like an oil change, you can, you know what I mean? Like you pull up at a, for an oil change, $50. It might be, right? But $50 for an oil change, maybe. In a truck, if you're gonna get the oil filter, fuel filters changed, $1,500. You know what I mean?
So
You get don't let an engine blow or a head gasket blow or anything like that, man. It's just big bucks.
money down to it.
Yeah, man, it is, man.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I look at it, I put up, basically 14,000 down payments on 2 trucks and tags and whatnot, and already through the first 5 months, I have personally in my salary made over 40,000. You know what I mean? So like I've doubled down in some of my initial investment. Now the business as itself, because of repairs, obviously we're in the hole right now. But from a individual investor perspective, it's a win. I'd do it again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get down to everybody heard. They seen you on here before. Guys do a lot of social media. Both you guys are heavy influence on social media. So for that side of things, I think a lot of people have seen your face in the local community. So we spoke a little bit about what you've been doing during this past year, 2020. Let's talk about challenges. Let's talk about some of the things that you've had to overcome and some obstacles that have popped up, really during this time. I know for me, I don't know about you guys, but May and June were brutal. We figured it out, but it was, in my opinion, pretty, like, it was just,
Country trying to figure out.
it was just light, man. Like, and you know, a lot of people pulled back.
Yeah.
You know, they were like, you know, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what's going on. Then we had this crazy election after that. So I mean, this is probably one of the most controversial elections of all time.
This is weird.
Yeah.
2020. Does it? My question is, does it like? We're all like, oh, 2020 sucks, blah blah blah. Like it's been hard. What do you think 2021? That's what I've been like lately. Now that it's getting closer, I'm like, dang, like what's going to be the consequences, aftermath? Because like you said, June was crazy, right?
For
Because
sure.
people were trying to figure out
Yeah.
what is the next move.
Well, even getting into houses, man. Like we were getting, and we were. I don't care what anybody says.
Yeah, because you couldn't go
Yeah.
in there.
Yeah,
right?
man.
It was-
And
Like
people were buying on
retail,
it
people
for-
were
yeah.
consumers were buying houses sight unseen.
Bananas.
Like, yeah,
Bananas.
the biggest purchase of your life
Yeah.
you're gonna acquire without
With-
ever
Online,
stepping
yeah.
foot
With some
in it
video-
ever.
with some
Yeah.
pictures.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man. Because we did in June. We sold a home and we sold it. They saw it, but we did the virtual tour thing. And
Yeah.
like in our niche, it's not a thing. Like this ain't New York. This isn't like $30 million condos where
For sure.
you do some crazy 360 virtual tour. Blah blah
Yeah.
blah.
Yeah.
So like doing that, I'm like, is this even gonna
Right.
work?
Yeah.
Because like I would never ever not buy. Like I would never buy a home if I can't step into it. Like, I gotta like look at every corner and all that
I
light
tried
bulb's
that.
missing. You know what I mean? Like,
man.
like yeah,
We look at it
exactly.
differently. We look
I
at it
know.
through different eyes. You know
But
what
you
I
would
mean?
think for them, dude, that's the
Yeah.
largest. Like for us, we do this on a daily basis. For them, you're talking about literally the largest purchase of your lifetime, and maybe only one time.
It was just.
I know what you mean. So now, like, take June and like January, February of next year, March. Like,
I have no idea.
dude,
I
they're
have
talking
no
foreclosures,
idea.
30%.
Right.
Dude, that's huge.
Huge.
We're gonna be busy. You know what
I
I
say,
mean? But I feel like
I'm
I
telling
feel
you,
bad
man.
for them. I feel for
It
the people.
is. You know, the thing is this, right? So, like, I started a group on Facebook called Investor Season. Because, like, you know, my spidey sense started tingling when all this thing started popping off back in February. Like, all right, there's going to be some tremendous opportunities. Now, granted, we're not, in the essence, folks who look to prey on other people's bad circumstances at all. We're
You
problem
get that a lot,
solvers.
though.
Yeah, when you think
I hate that, though.
And it
You get
sucks because you got some vultures out there who are just waiting for people to get foreclosed or evicted and all
Yep.
that stuff. Whereas we come in with solutions, right, to these problems that maybe
You might have a buy a
landlords
house.
are- Right.
You know, I mean, how many times
Exactly.
have you gone to
Many
somebody?
times I've been to
Yeah.
properties and have given them another way out that,
Exactly.
didn't,
Exactly.
that didn't involve them selling their house to me.
Yeah, I kind of
You know.
sucked at the business, man, because I was talking myself out of a lot
No,
of houses.
I say this. I say this all the time.
Yeah.
Like how
You know?
many houses I probably could have bought, and I was
Yeah.
like, look, truthfully, I have a realtor that's fantastic. You could sell this without
Yeah.
doing anything.
Mhm.
Call them up. But I don't know. I feel like that.
I- it's like you sowing
You
seeds,
know, I'm pretty
man.
sure you've run into it, man.
Yep.
Where like they'll call you later and be like, hey, so and so has a house. I know you didn't buy mine, but why don't you try to go buy theirs?
And sometimes, it's giving them that option. They might not even want that option.
I think
Right.
that's
but
just
to being,
human nature.
being able to provide
Yeah.
that
Options in front of you always
Yeah.
is like, oh wow.
Well,
you
people
know?
Yeah.
feel like you're not, trying to just
They feel empowered, like
take.
they're not
yeah,
taking over.
I mean, you're
Right.
not taking advantage of a situation that,
They feel like they're in control.
Can be, because honestly, the only thing they're not in control of at that point is their finances.
Yep.
Yeah.
So like they're talking about something that they're not in control of,
Right.
and you're
And sentimental.
and yeah, and
It's emotional.
It is,
Yep.
sentimental,
Mhm.
and you're handing them back a playbook that says, hey, like I know times are tough, like we've
Right.
all been through it. I've spent time with
I always
thousands,
call it the parent talk.
thousands of
Like
people.
it is, yeah.
Like you have to be
You got-
firm,
right.
But you have to have that like kind of like emotional connection of like, hey, look, it's gonna be all right, but
Yeah.
you need to
gotta
make a
make a
decision
move,
here,
man,
or it's gonna
yeah.
keep getting worse. Here
Exactly,
it is.
man.
Whether
Yeah.
I buy it, real estate agent, we set you up with someone to do a loan modification, like or whatever, short sale,
Sure.
any of those. But it's like the conversation. You got to have it. You can't just be like, hey, look, you're screwed. You know what I mean? Blah
Yeah.
blah. You got to have because to them, it literally
They think they are.
only
yeah.
purchase of their life.
Mhm.
Now it's
And now I'm about to lose it.
technically ruined, and it's
Yeah.
like, hey, it's not. You can eventually you can fix this and now move on and go do something else. So,
100%.
You
Now-
gotta think though, without us, a lot of people would go through foreclosure, which that's a hit on your credit for like
And the
7
bank don't
years or
care.
whatever the case is. You know what I mean?
And the bank doesn't care.
So-
no,
No.
I've
Here's the nu- here's
I've
the
literally
number.
watched families be like taken out of there, like from the sheriff,
For sure.
or if like to take over the property. It's like
100%. Happens all the time.
yeah. And the
You
thing
know?
is, you call the bank and it's like, oh well, that's not me. You got to call that
Right,
department.
right.
You got to
Yeah.
call that because no one has to take ownership. For us, we're the owners of the business. Like we're front and center. Like something's happening. Like we're right there with them and shaking hands and saying, hey, because it's tough. Like I've been there where I couldn't specifically solve it myself, and it's like, hey man, how about this person literally? It just doesn't work for me. Whatever other solution I provide doesn't work, and it's like, man, they're gonna have to go through this like process with the bank, and the bank does not care.
Yeah.
They really don't. They
So
never even seen the property before.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you gotta get on that short sale game, bro.
Bro,
Man, I failed at 2 short sales, man. It's a process,
get on that
man.
short
I'm 1 for 1.
Yeah.
dude.
I bought my first short sale literally like with Jason
Sansverino.
Sansverino. I always mess up. That's the guy. So we're on.
He does a good job.
Yeah, dude. We have 2 more.
I'm gonna get with y'all on that.
Yeah,
I'm
we're
over
working
2
on.
so far.
We're 1 of 3 right now,
Yeah.
and the other 2 are promising at the moment. So I'm like,
They're always a toss up. But here's
No, I was gonna say, like-
here's what I can tell you. If you can't buy it cash, and so here's what I would tell you. If you're not willing to deal with somebody like Jason, or deal with somebody that is a short sale specialist, if they're time consuming, they're a headache. You're gonna have to involve yourself with the bank. You're gonna have to negotiate. You're gonna have to do all these extra steps. But if you're willing to pay somebody that's willing to handle those things. I mean, that's
Worth
not
it,
my
man.
specialty, dude. Like,
Yeah.
I buy houses from people, not banks.
Right.
Like, that's not.
It's a whole nother,
It's a whole
like-
different ballgame.
Yeah.
And there's
Also,
a reason that people specialize in it.
relationships. So like,
Yeah, they
I
talk
went
to
through
those banks
Jason,
before.
and Jason, I believe, uses ABA,
Abalos
Abo-
mitigation, which
yeah.
is Bill.
Bill.
Yep.
Yeah, dude, he has been in this.
Bill
game.
Vance, shout out to Bill Vance. He's
Yeah,
Bill
man,
is a
Bill,
champ,
you're the
man.
dude, bro. Like,
Bill Vance, I think we've all kind of
yeah, and it's like
yeah.
he's been doing this since. Well, I want to say '08. Like that was when he transitioned, and it was like, dude, he had like these banks know him. Like they actually like the people he deals with knows them.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like
Well, he's
right
making that
there,
phone call all the time.
exactly, and right there's that relationship.
Yeah, yeah.
Like they're gonna
Yeah.
go. You know what, Bill? You definitely, we got you. We worked with you before. We know you're not full of it. This is correct. All right, let's go. But then we step in, and it's like, because Jay, my other partner, Jamar Davis, shout out, that's my mentor, my guy, gave me my first flip. He's been in short sale for 8 months. I was in short sale for 3 months.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I mean,
the difference. Now I
Yeah,
now
for
I
sure.
worked with somebody else. He's been the one involved in with another, like an agent and stuff. But it's like the difference of
Right.
someone who knows what's going on, understands it. Because I don't honestly, I know enough, and I understand it enough where I know it's an option and I can do it. But
100%.
man, it's
Right.
a lot. You know?
It's a
And the bank, they can be savage from what I've
Savage.
Yeah, man.
It
like,
takes
they
them
don't-
like literally 2 weeks to take a paper from here and move it over
And
here.
that's-
You know what I mean? It's like, man,
it's
come on,
crazy.
y'all move that across the
Yeah.
aisle, man.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
but they don't care.
Yeah.
department to department, and then
But here's what it does do, is it gives your people time.
yes,
Yeah,
Yeah.
if you can operate in the right space, and you can, it gives them time to make adjustments, not be removed from their property, do what needs to be done throughout the process, because you're not gonna buy that house next week.
Right.
Like,
No,
and
no,
then,
no, no.
like,
You in it for a few months,
Yeah,
at least.
you
You
gotta
in
expect
it-
after like the pipeline
You in it
down.
for a
you know
few
what I mean?
months,
Like,
you know?
how next June?
yeah.
2020 we're here. Like 2021 we're still here. Who knows? But honestly, it's one of those things for me, and we kind of struggled with it there during that conversation. But with all those things that you're talking about, being able to provide those options, do you feel that there was any challenges through this whole thing that made it tougher for you to be able to provide the options that you usually would? I can tell you, for me, one of my biggest things was like I was full-fledged going to be running into doing more rehabs this year, and like all of a sudden, like
I remember we were talking
supplies.
about that.
Yeah.
Supplies just went through the roof.
Don't even-
Like
Yeah.
They came down a
Lumber,
little bit.
drywalls, is
Yeah,
like,
it
man.
came
what
down a
the-
little bit, man.
It-
It was at 2x4s were $8. Now they're
Yeah.
$5.
Yeah.
They're double what they were before,
Yeah.
but at one point they were triple. So
This is
Yeah,
classic
like-
economics,
like
man. It was
seven.
just basic
I mean,
economics,
we have a
man.
few rehabs going on, but like
your cost literally jumps.
it was like, all right, man, I budgeted for 47 and now it's 56.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I
Big
mean?
difference,
Just,
bro.
just based on materials.
Profit goes from
So,
30
like,
to 20. You know what I mean? That's a big.
that was one of the things for me. I mean, obviously it was still an option, you know, for me, but it became a challenge in 2020. And I think, did you guys feel that at all with some of the work you guys were doing? Like,
That's when I pivoted, right? So like, you know, I had bought a property in May,
Okay.
and then like the property I'm working on now in Clover Lane, man, stalking that for a year. But when this whole uncertainty in real estate came, that's when I really kind of made the pivot to like, you know what else, what can supplement the real estate, you know what I mean? And the biggest challenge for me and concern was my tenants, right? So,
For sure.
you know, thankfully, most of them were considered, you know, essential workers. So I had a nurse, truck driver, and I can't remember the other employee was, but I had to modify some of the rent payments, so they, you know, split it up. But I actually ended up making they made all their payments. So I mean,
Fantastic.
that was a blessing, yeah, because I
People
know a lot
don't-
of
that's
people
the
were
thing.
concerned.
People don't understand that.
Yeah.
If you're not a landlord, they don't understand. Like,
Yeah,
I always say it, like, I get the whole hard times, but like, we also have families. Like, I hate going this route, but like, talking to tenants, I was like, you know, like, your rent pays all the expenses, and then that goes to food for my son, and
Right.
clothing and things for us to do, like,
Yeah.
and I hate having that conversation, because it's like, I get it, like, hard times come down, you can't pay rent. I've been there, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
but
Now,
the-
people think landlords have like limitless, bottomless pockets. You know what I mean?
But
It's like, we've
what's
got
crazy, like,
expenses as well. You
70%
know?
or 80% of the United States is rental portfolios are
Yeah.
mom and pop.
Yeah.
Like they think we're all these like Amazon,
Yeah.
Walmart. So, like
Yeah.
no, we're
There's-
us.
there's-
You know,
right, exactly.
We're the landlords here, and it's like
Yeah.
you know we go hang out and sit at dinner and stuff like that. We're not flying to
It's
Italy.
a domino
and, you know,
effect. Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? So like, they lose their job, they don't pay rent. We don't pay rent, then it's hard. Like if we're leveraged, right? If you got mortgage or if you got private
And
lenders,
the-
it's just hard to pay them back.
And like the vehicle of leverage too, because
Mhm.
like
Right.
most people are like, oh well, they're giving forbearance. It's like that's for FHA.
Hmm. Yeah.
Only now since I've been in doing this is like I'm seeing retail. I call them retail investors, like guys that have a W-2, like my buddy, it's a W-2 job. He's looking to get into real estate, and he buys strictly off the MLS, and he puts 20% down.
it's pretty wild.
It is. It's changed.
It is
It's-
weird.
Yeah. I know a guy whose his whole portfolio is like that. 30 units over the past 10 years, 20% down.
Good for
all of
him,
them. I'm
man.
like,
Yeah,
dude,
I mean,
I
hey,
mean,
hey, no,
if
and
you
I'm
can
like,
do
I'll
it,
knock it.
if you can do it, okay.
For sure.
You know
it's
what I
their
mean?
business model, but that's
Yeah.
increased now because
Yeah.
more and more are realizing they can you can get into real estate.
Well, and the market changed a little bit. Banks have changed. You're not getting the same amount on your money market in your different accounts you had.
Exactly.
I mean,
You're diversifying.
1% on your retirement is not what it was when it was 3.5.
No.
You know what I mean?
No.
Like it's just a different situation.
And that was my mindset I had to shift, man, because like, you know, when I got let go from a job last January, you know, I was fine because it's like, you know, I had 120,000 in the savings, you know, another 100 plus brokerage. I was like, cool. And then I realized like, man, like I didn't realize like, think from an investor perspective, like it's stupid to be sitting on that much cash. You know what I mean? Because, you know, I was getting maybe a point and a half.
You're losing money.
In the savings account with Capital One, but inflation is 3%.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's just eroding that money,
Try
man.
explaining that
So,
to like people, and they're just like sitting
Yeah.
there. Like,
Yeah.
what? My
But 'cause
money's
you
losing
think,
money
because you think that money is like your pillow, your
Yep.
mattress to fall on, you know, and it's like, you know, so
The stock drawer. That's what they
Right,
call
the
it. And
stock
it's like
drawer.
it doesn't work that way anymore. Your money has to keep
has to
moving.
keep working, right?
Because if not, when it's stagnant,
not doing
inflation,
anything.
it's losing. Like the dollar has always it's constantly devalued.
So to your point, your question earlier, right? So when this all went down, so I started looking again for opportunities. So I've got the trucking business. So now I'm like,
Yep.
all right, there's a lot of people who just need to get by. They need $5,000 or $10,000
For sure.
to you know pay for food or sustenance, whatever the case is. So that's when I went heavy into private lending, right? So you got some folks that got a bigger pocket than what I had. So they lend out tens of thousands. I would lend out no more than 10, right? So I did multiple short-term loans and kept turning them over, right?
Sure.
And so I had one guy,
Did you have? Was it on property or was it just in general, like small private loans?
small private loans.
Okay.
Yeah. So I would
To
collateralize
business
it.
owners
for
and stuff like that.
Business owners, and I did some private.
Okay.
But like like cousins and whatnot. 'Cause when you got your IRA, you can't lend to like your mom and dad or your kids, but you can
Yeah.
lend to siblings, you can lend to cousins and whatnot. And so, before, the more philanthropic me would just like
you get
here you
scared?
go.
start handing out money in this time? Like, did you?
Initially, yes.
Yeah, 10 grand.
And
Like,
so
you
I had
said
to
10
do-
grand. I'm thinking like, because when you said small, I'm thinking okay, like 2 grand, I can cover a month worth of someone's like your typical bills and stuff like that. You
Yeah.
said 10 grand. I'm like, hey man.
Yeah, but like I didn't start off with 10 though. I started off with 4. I started off with my first loan was a $4,000 loan. I knew
What was
the
that for?
person.
Yeah. What was that?
Yeah.
Who needs $4,000? Like,
Yeah.
Right, it was a small business loan.
Okay.
I'm not going to mention.
Okay.
Protect
No,
an-
no,
protect
no.
anonymity.
But I meant like the style of like,
But
what
yeah,
were they?
But he had a small business. It was a
So you were doing PPP loans.
pretty much before the government started doing PPP.
You were quicker too with that.
You know, it's like literally I could have money out to people in their account in 5 days, right? And so like it was a small guy. He was doing a remodeling business, and he just needed money to float his payroll
Yep.
until business started picking up again. And literally he paid it back in 90 days, and it was like the first proof of concept. Like, yo, this works. You know what I mean? So like, how can I keep dishing it out on short-term loans and getting it back?
What was your collateral on that? How did you?
So for that particular one, his truck, so I had a lien on his truck, if
Gotcha.
he didn't pay that back. And all the other ones, I had it backed by real estate. So it's like, in my documentation that my attorney created, it was more, so they had a sign saying that if you don't pay, then not only will you pay for my attorney fees and costs to recover those funds, but also there'll be a lien on your property as well as in the amount of the initial loan and the court costs and recovery fees and things of that sort. So, it was a time where it's like, it's providing a service, but also for me, it's valuable learning on.
For sure.
If I want to get into lending at some point, $100,000, $200,000, how does that process work?
So understanding that at a small scale,
Right.
just like any other entrepreneur that runs a business, it can be scaled.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
I admire your ability to pivot,
Yeah, just
and like just
Back and forth,
keep things
and
going. And for me, I don't know if the word's neurotic, but you know what I mean? Like I like focus on one
Agreed.
thing.
I struggle with focusing on one thing.
And
That's
I
me, man.
try
my
to
mind's
like,
moving, and you're literally going from.
but I would be like, okay, well, if I put too much focus on this, does this, am I the best at this?
Yeah, how do you?
Am I the best at this anymore? Like, I've always
Right.
been, what I love about you is that you do it at a high level. So I've always been a person
Appreciate
that
that.
hears, hey, jack of all trades, master
of none.
You know what I mean? And that's kind of where I didn't want to be in this business. It's
And
crazy.
it's working for you, though. It's working for you very well, though. You know what I mean?
But it was always just,
Yeah.
when I start another vertical, it's going to be branched off of this. You know what I mean?
Right.
This is my tree. Putting in the roots. I'm going to spend all this time when I
This
build
is the foundation.
When I build another vertical, it's going to be off of that tree, and I'll build a limb.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
You are just like.
Here's 3
I mean,
trees.
they're tuning in.
All at one time. I'm planting 3
And
at once.
I'm gonna water all 3 of them at the
Yeah.
same time. And you know what? Like,
And
this
then
one only
banana.
might get this big. This one gonna be my giant tree, and this
Man,
it's
we
just
don't
so
understand, man,
it's
but
so
they
awesome, man.
combine.
It
Like-
sounds great now, and I'm happy I did it, but man, I've lost so much sleep, man. Like,
Oh,
my
I bet.
workout- because it's like, and my
wearing
friends,
3
my
businesses.
people are like, what the hell are you doing thinking about starting that meeting at the same time? But like, for me, the most important thing, mindset I shifted from, right? Because when I was an engineer by trade, right? And so you literally focus on one thing, you have all the details lined up, and you plan out at least steps A through K before you even move,
I
right?
wish my mind thought like
You
that.
know what I
man.
mean? And so that was me for the longest time. And then like the biggest shift I made was to go from I can either do this or this or this to I can do this and this and this and this, and I can just rearrange some things and figure out how to get it done. I mean,
So what's your baby?
my baby, right? I mean, real estate's still the baby, man. You know, yeah, but when I look at
Or they
holistically,
triplets, like you love them all.
I love them all, man.
I don't know.
I was just like having a conversation, man, because like you know.
Which is the most beneficial as in income? Because you can I always look at it like sports. You could love a sport,
Yeah.
but it's not like you're not the greatest at it. So,
Trucking
like,
right now is steady, right? So I pay myself a salary every week. So every Friday,
your payroll, you get.
right.
Nice.
I'm an employee. My drivers are 1099 subcontractors.
Gotcha.
So I can guarantee that. Now real estate is more like you guys know. It's like,
Yeah, dude.
maybe this,
Yeah.
maybe this,
Yeah.
you know, and then poof, you know what I mean? But like at least
Bank
in
account
trucking,
goes from here to
it's
here.
like this. So I mean that right now is like, you know, really is
Your bread and
the-
butter that holds everything.
Right, it's the consistency. I
pretty
think the
cool.
development company, we're still in the infancy phases of that. You know, we work with the city. We have a few properties that we're going to start renovating and doing that.
Now,
thing.
is that
That's gonna be
development,
big.
is that like a like a Habitat for Humanity type style? Like, is that how it's gonna be
No,
structured?
it's totally for profit, but it's geared. So
Love
we're going to
it.
be looking at a lot of philanthropic and investor people who have like that philanthropic investor mentality, who know they're going to get a return. It may not be a high return. It may take a little longer,
It might
but they
take
know that
5, 10 years, but
their
it's-
money is going
Going
to
into
actually
good.
right. And so
They're doing things.
there's a venture fund that was just created for that purpose specifically.
That's something I want to get into for Lebanon.
yeah.
There is a group of investors in Lebanon that aren't necessarily looking for I call it a tomorrow return.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
and it's like how I always wanted to be like, because they're interested. Like, there's properties they would love to buy, but it like they don't want to do nothing.
Right.
They don't want to be involved at all. They
Right.
just want to say, hey, here's my money, put my name on it. I want to do this.
Here's how. There's two kinds. There's greedy, wealthy people,
Right.
and there's wealthy people that want to give back.
Right.
They love it.
There's nothing in
I don't
between.
think there's any- I think
There's
you're
nothing in
right.
between,
It
bro.
wouldn't even
There's
matter.
there's
Yeah,
never
that's
there's
it.
you know what I mean. There's
Yeah.
people that are like, hey, I made this money, and I worked hard for it, and I want to. And most of those wealthy people are like, I want to be able to put it where I want to put it.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want the
Right.
government to tell me where I need to put it, and I want to make sure that I can help my community.
Yeah.
I don't think those individuals, because they've worked so hard, are just free handouts.
No.
Right.
But they're
They
but
need
but they're
organization and
community
stuff like
driven.
that. They're
They want to see
right.
things better. They
Once the other people win.
Yep,
Yes.
and they do charity events and they want to help people that didn't have the same opportunities or situations in their life. And then there's people that are like,
I got
it's just
mine.
me, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So being involved with the right people and aligning yourself with people with that type of mentality, to me, is a huge part of success.
Yeah.
There's I just think dying rich and alone is I mean, I bet you had some fun,
Yeah.
but you know what I mean. But at the same time, like everybody that cared about you was bought.
Right.
You know what I mean? When you do the things that like you're saying, we're putting back in the community, reaching out to different people, and those people, there's a lot of them around because there's like I said, it's only one or the other.
There's a lot more wealth out there than people understand and respect. Like,
And right now,
they don't have to
people
be
are looking for
Jeff
places to put their
Bezos.
money.
No.
but
Yeah.
there's plenty of guys who make 6 figures a year, have done it for 10, 20 years, have large
There's a lot of
capital
people
sitting.
make 7 figures a year. It's just-
Yeah.
And just yeah.
York has a lot of like
You would-
7, 8-figure
Yeah,
people.
for sure.
A lot of them who
Surprised
are
how many like there's old money.
That's 'cause
like,
they're
in
all-
Lebanon.
that's 'cause they're
like,
all
I mean,
around.
guys that have been around for 40, 50 plus years and probably like I know one guy for sure. This is probably I don't know, but I know that in he has just one bank account, 10 million plus, just in one bank account in
Yeah.
a local credit union,
Mhm.
like just
Here's
as
the
a
thing. Here's the thing.
as a
Yeah.
whatever,
It's
you know what I
just
mean?
there.
That's it.
You know what I mean?
It is.
Like, and that, the thing is, right now, is a lot of people, and I've spoken to numerous people, is what we were talking about earlier, and what you're saying is, if you're 50 and you're in that position, you can wait for long-term returns.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Right.
you it might not be the the biggest return ever, but you're helping a community.
Right.
you're in a position where
It's like a
like
legacy. That's
you
how I
know,
look at it.
yeah,
you know what I mean?
what
Like you're
like
you have family that live there, kids live there, grandchildren go to school there. Like you're
I
just
mean-
ultimately not only getting a return, a monetized return, you're also getting it through your family,
Yeah.
friends, things like
And you
that.
get
I
that
mean, you think
emotional
about the-
equity, man.
Yeah,
That's what I always
exactly.
call it, man. It's
You
like
think
the
about-
satisfaction knowing that I had a part to play in,
The upbringing
improving the
of this
lives
area.
of other folks. You know what I
and
mean?
during this time, during everything that's going on in
Yeah.
the country right now,
We need it more than
like
ever.
you know what I mean, because the hate that is just rocking out on
Everywhere, all
all
sides.
sides, everything. I could literally care less at this point.
Right.
I think everybody's just
The election really
burn out. You know what I
the
mean?
president of the
I mean,
United
the
States
way
has
it-
about 1% to do with what's.
Right about to say, it has
Yeah,
nothing to do with what
I'm
I'm
gonna be just fine.
Dude, they're like the Queen of
as-
England now. Like
Yeah.
it's legit just there.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
So
I mean, they can't operate in power without.
But to your point, man, you could do the same thing up in Lebanon because there's a thing that's coming out now. So it's a federal program called the Choice Neighborhood Grant, right? So what we're going to be doing as part of Four Squares is working with a lot of local, state, and federal grants. Because the government rewards you, right? So people think taxes are complicated and whatnot, but the government rewards those who create economic opportunities for other people, AKA creating jobs, and provides housing, right? So if you do that, the government will not only give you money, but they'll reward you from a tax benefit, right? So they'll reduce your taxes.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So like,
biggest part of business.
exactly. And so I didn't know that as well. And like, I feel like dumb, like, man, why did I stay in corporate America for so long, man? Giving away 40+% of my money.
Its purpose,
you know what I'm saying?
But
Because now I can actually gross less than, which I actually do gross less now than what I did when I worked, in corporate America, but I'm netting significantly more
That's
because
the
of the
key.
tax game. You know what I
net
mean?
profit,
So like,
man.
that's
Not
all-
how much you make, it's
how much you
put in your
keep,
pocket,
man. Right? Yeah.
And that's 100%. You know what I mean? Like,
I want to connect with you after this about that because,
No doubt.
like I said, there's guys that my partner, David Warner Jr., shout out. He works with a collective group, but there's no I feel like there's no organization or drive. It's just like, hey, yeah, we'll do this.
Yeah.
We find
What
you find a
happens in
property,
business,
yeah, we'll do this.
Yeah.
But it's like if we could put someone, or not necessarily me, but someone to drive that. Imagine how
Right.
much money they have that they can just acquire a block
That's it, man.
or
That's the
a
game.
larger investment property that
Yeah.
that it might not exactly make sense numbers on the sheet acquiring at this moment, but if you have a plan for it 5-10 years from now, you know what I mean, create more jobs, you know what I mean, just all types of stuff. And it's like, dude, I've been thinking about this for a while now because
Yeah.
he says this and he's like, hey, there's these guys, and it's like, well, I don't know what to do with it though.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Because where our company's at position wise right now is we have to produce tomorrow profits to keep
Right.
running. You understand it,
Yeah.
a constant. So it's like, but here they are. How do we connect that? Because it ultimately is going to benefit everybody anyways.
Yeah.
So
No, that's awesome. I didn't even know we were going to go there today, but I think a lot of people have questions about entrepreneurs in all areas, and people that work for themselves or work in a situation where they can use these tax benefits.
Yeah.
It's important to know them. And if you don't know them, have an accountant that does.
That's
Because
it,
just like I said, man, I don't claim to be brilliant at
your team.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you got to put people around you that excel.
That's
Accountant, you know what I mean? All those different things.
And I think that's one of my biggest things that I'd say about navigating through 2020.
Yeah.
Was that the team that I was surrounded with all had same vision, same goal. They understood that hey,
it's like a family.
none of us know what's going on right now. None of us know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But here's what
We're
we
here.
need to do and to forge through it. And honestly, it's been such a blessing. In 2020, we've hired 6 people. You know what I mean? So
The fact that you were hiring when everybody
Everybody
else
else
was
was letting
letting
go.
go, man, is like a testament
Shows
to you,
what
man. Like that's ballsy right there, man. That's cool. That's,
Business and a company of providing,
yeah.
just like what you did.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're providing for that's food on the table. You know what I mean? People don't realize that getting a job, giving
Yeah.
having jobs for people is livelihood.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They
For sure.
they rely on you. You have 6 more people relying on you in a time where no one really has a foot to stand on right
And-
now. You know what I mean? There's no support.
So, and you know what the craziest thing about that is I've thought about that a lot of times, and yes, they do rely on me. But when you take a step back and you build a business and you start to hire people,
You relying on them.
you rely on them.
I know it's a
And that's why, for me, it's so important to say, congratulate my team through all this and the newer guys, and we just brought 2 new people on yesterday. To see a team that has the same understanding, the same vision, to make sure that you hire the right person, and if they're not the right person, be willing to move on from them because it's just toxicity to the team. And
go is literally
but
the hardest thing in the world.
but to be able to say, hey, I believe deep down in my heart, I ain't nobody buying houses better than me. But you know what I mean. But I always tell people Floyd Mayweather believes everything that comes out of his mouth, and that's why I love him.
Yeah.
People may hate him, but the things he says,
Right.
he believes up here. That's why he wins.
That's all that matters.
He goes to bed every night being like, ain't
I'm the
nobody ever-
greatest.
I'm
Yeah, you know what I mean?
I'm the greatest. I'm the greatest to ever slip. Yeah. Everybody ain't gonna have this many cars. Like there's plenty of people that are just as rich as Floyd Mayweather,
Well,
but he don't care.
manifested everything.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So like,
First step is believing it.
Yeah.
And you start seeing
It's an
And
idea.
then once it gets
You know
here,
what I mean? Yeah.
once it gets here, and you're
Yeah.
like from here to here, and you're
It's
like
done, man.
you're
Yeah.
pumping
The
that.
emotional backing.
It's crazy.
But to like people who don't understand like law of attraction and manifestation, it comes across as arrogance
Yes.
or conceited, and it's like,
Well, that's
nah,
why
man,
people
I'm
hate
just, I'm
Floyd.
just speaking the
He's a little
truth.
conceited.
You know?
It's crazy.
But at the same time,
But I try to tell
But
people
you're on that
he
platform,
believes
though.
it.
yeah,
Muhammad
you're-
Ali was the same way.
yeah,
You know,
Yeah, and
even though
everybody,
he
and everybody
was-
loves it.
Yeah.
But like, when you're at that
He's
like
never money.
level, is it like if you don't have that mentality, you're not there.
right,
Like,
right.
you know, it's I know a professional athlete, and we had a young entrepreneur, like a intern in a facility we were in, and he brought up, oh, do you know so and so? And he's like, yeah, you know, we're not like, you're not like when you're a professional athlete, you're not friends with everybody in the league. You don't know everybody, and the kid's like, oh yeah, he's cocky, and all that.
Yeah.
And the athlete was like, he's a professional athlete.
Yeah.
Right.
To you, he might be like that, but without that mindset, he ain't,
He ain't
you know,
that.
rocking people
Yeah.
on the field or, you know,
Right.
scoring
Exactly.
100 points. Like, you have to have that confidence. And most people, yes, though you may come across, but then, like, don't care about it. Who cares? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you're
And-
genuine. You know what I mean? Like,
For sure.
if you're a genuine person,
100%.
what does it
And-
matter? You have to be on that level to,
Without a shadow of a
yeah,
doubt.
or you're not
understand,
gonna,
man.
you're not there.
Yeah.
That's why the people that say that aren't there.
Exactly.
You know what I
Period.
mean? That's how
I
I look
don't,
at it.
I don't know if I can do that. I don't know if
That guy's
you're
cocky,
speaking that
like,
into
he
existence.
thinks he's the best and he's not. It's like, well, why don't you think that of yourself?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's
And-
the first step.
And part of that too for me was, pulling myself away from that because I just told I truly believe that. But like now I don't go to hardly any appointments anymore. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And I got
That's the truest sign of success, right?
Like,
Yeah, I know, right?
You
That's
know
all.
what I mean? Like
and
that.
it's I do other things within the business, and obviously I manage when those deals come through and look at them and overlook them and make phone calls when they need to be made. But I have great guys that are crushing it. But to pull away from that, I only knew how to rely on myself when it came to buying houses, and then to be like, you know what, like. Here you go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You know my house is hard to
Yeah.
It's hard to go, yeah.
It was scary. So it's a huge thing of trust on both sides.
Yeah.
It's a risk for both.
I love being a business owner. I always tell people all the time, you can't manage people, you manage things. You lead people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you.
That's legit. I like that.
It is what it is
Yeah.
because you can manage all the systems and processes that you want, and I can overlook that. But like when it comes to people, like that tribal knowledge we were talking about earlier,
Yeah.
like that you just have up here,
Yeah.
you got to treat people the right way. You
Yeah.
know, it is what it is.
That's it, man.
Guys, I am so thankful that you guys checked in this morning. And hung out, and I know we were supposed to kind of just go in and talk about stuff, but we just ended up cutting it up for like 45 minutes. But honestly, some key points and just out of our conversation, if you don't mind just sharing, I think every conversation people get different things out of it.
Yeah.
And if you want to just quick minute or two, just out of this conversation today, what do you think, the listeners, the viewers, could, take home with them so that, if they don't want to go back and watch, the whole video, that, they can learn from three guys that are trying to figure this whole game out,
Sure,
man.
Like, okay, not necessarily pertinent to the conversation we had over the last 45 minutes, but one thing I want to ingrain in somebody's mind is it's December. I call it investor season. Everybody's kind of frantically scurrying around trying to figure out what gifts to get their kids and family and friends and all that stuff. And you're going to go buy a bunch of frivolous things that more than likely someone's going to be like, oh, this is nice, and then tuck it away in the closet after 3 days or weeks or so. So what I would encourage people to do, man, think about it from a different perspective now. You know, if you want to get somebody something, if you want to get me something for my birthday coming up on December 13th, you know, if you got some, you know, some investing courses or some books on financial literacy. If you want to do something for your kids, open up a stock account, you know, and buy some fractional shares or something like that. You know, if you want to invest in someone's startup, someone's idea, get them an LLC, you know what I mean, book them some time with an attorney or an accountant or something like that. Those are some great gifts that can manifest and really build somebody's legacy up and also create generational wealth. So right now where I'm at, man, it's just, you know, just to think about what can you do to help someone build generational wealth. I mean,
I love that, man.
Yeah.
That's good stuff right there. And because most time gifts are just things. You know what I mean? And by next year they want more things. You know what I mean? So like, well, I was talking birthdays, but you know, but if you can figure out a way to give a gift that can add value, give a man a fish, eats for a day. Teach him how to fish. He eats for life. You know what I mean? It's the truth.
Give me some courses, give me some books, you know what I mean? Cool, man. I'm serious. Hey, December 13th, baby.
Send him the mail address. Maybe your truck will deliver.
Hey, you know what I mean? Exactly, there we go. I'm gonna get one of these DTF shirts, man. You know what I mean?
Down to foot every day.
I already got my Honest Home mugs and stuff, you know.
Not go back to the question, like when we were first started talking about the hardships of 2020. I would say just one, always know there's a way out. Like no matter what happens, and I always run into this because I face depression. So like as soon as something is like beating me down, I'm constantly like I want to go in a corner and be like, okay, close my eyes, it's gonna go away. But the truth is, you just gotta barrel through it, and you gotta understand that like there is light. No matter what, a negative, there's a positive. Mm-hmm. And with 2020 being so harsh, because it is, it's not bad or good or, you know, evil or things are horrible. It's just, it's life, it's environment. You know what I mean?
If you survive 2020, you can do anything.
Exactly. You know what I mean? Like if we're gonna, everybody's gonna get through this. Mm-hmm. You know, the crisis in the 80s, they got through it. Yep. The housing crisis, like we know, like you guys were through it. Like me, I
wasn't in the game.
Well, I wasn't either, but I lived through it though.
But you guys were like, you were in a working environment. Me, I was in high school, so like I don't know, but my parents got through it.
Yeah.
So like, just know and understand that there is light, and if you can get one thing from this conversation and seeing us and other successful entrepreneurs and people that are just working hard, like not necessarily successful, but just, you know, every day showing up, doing what they got to do to support whoever, like understand that there is light. Even though it's dark now, there will be a light. You just gotta keep focusing on that light and
looking. For the opportunity.
Look for it, because we always focus on. I know you're supposed to live in the present, but you also, the word hope is about looking forward to something, whatever that is. And
100%.
you know, what's after 2020? Who knows? You know what I mean? And maybe 2021 is going to be even worse. I don't know. But guess what? Like, we live, we live for, you know, what, 70 years on average as a human being? We got another, I got, you know, 50 years, you know, whatever. Just keep pushing, man. It's going to get better. So stay focused.
And, you know, that's a great thought there, because, you know, one of my other quotes is, I'll create more opportunities than will ever be given to me. And that mindset is what creates opportunities. You're always available and looking for the next thing. And but for me, man, there's three things I would say, and I don't think it matters a year. I don't think it really matters what it is. And the first is very simple and easy, and everybody knows it, but teamwork makes the dream work. And that doesn't have anything to do with
People overlook that.
yeah, like you have dreams. And so the crazy thing about it is that I don't just consider it, you know, I have an awesome team around me at Honest Home Solutions, but like we just sat here and chopped it up for 25 minutes before this show started. We chop it up on numerous times when we see each other out. Like, we don't wish any bad on, like, you know what I mean, on just because we do what the other does. So surround yourself with people that want to see
see you win.
succeed,
Yes, yeah.
and that is your team as well. People that you see when you're walking to a restaurant, and they're like, "Hey man, what's up, man?
Yeah.
How you doing? I love seeing what you're doing." Like you guys
Yeah.
had never met each other in person this morning.
Yeah.
You're like, "Man, it's awesome what
Yeah.
you did." You know what I mean? Like that stuff
That's
is
right.
people don't even understand how much that means, and how you'll walk out of that conversation with just a little bit more inside of you to
Yeah.
keep pushing forward. So just
Collaboration
yes,
over
collaboration.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
for sure.
Like,
And that's
it.
definitely grown. You know
For-
what I mean? Like,
100%.
I've seen it way more now than ever.
So teamwork makes the dream work is number one, and it's not just your surrounding team; it's who you surround yourself with, who you pour your heart and soul into. Is extremely important. Second is, man, learn how to pivot, and learn how to adapt and change and understand, and don't stop. Don't quit because things get difficult. Learn how to. Everything and every challenge that's ever happened in this world, there's people that came out on the other side successful. So, as things happen and things change, don't be scared to, change your mindset. Or change is always a fear. It comes with change. And if don't be scared to, pivot and adjust and move in that direction. And I think both of you have done an incredible job, at that. And last but not least, what I get out of this conversation, man, is surround yourself with people, not just teamwork makes the dream work, but surround yourself with people that want to push you to the next level because of what they're doing on their daily.
Right.
And you know what I mean? Like we've all done different things this year, and there's things that each one of us can learn from each other. And the way you do things and the way that I do things and the way you do things, we might not ever be perfect. But I promise you, when I chat with you, like we toss ideas back and forth. I hear what you're doing. You're here. Push. If your business outgrows mine, like whatever. Like
Right,
I'm gonna be fine.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like and
So much
if
easier.
yeah, and so.
There's plenty of money out there, bro.
But if you
Everybody-
surround yourself with people that aren't doing it,
that
that aren't
naturally-
pushing it, that when you sit down with them and you're like, man, hey, guess what's going on in my business? And they're like, yeah, man, I was just chilling. Like you're not. There's nothing to feed your soul. There's nothing to
Right.
feed that mind, that dream, that imagination of what it takes to be great. So all in all, man, teamwork makes the dream work. Make sure that you love on people, give it to them, and surround yourself with your own team. Be able to pivot. 2020 gave us all reasons to make adjustments, changes, and headsets. And last but not least, in my opinion, from this conversation, what I got is put yourself around people that are doing it, that are pivoting, that are surrounding themselves with the right people, that are doing that things. Because if you look at them and you put those people in your lives, you're not gonna fail. Because those people are gonna push you to be better. You're not gonna get complacent. You're not gonna get soft-hearted or that. Well, soft-hearted is a good thing, but you're not going to get in a position where you don't want to push to that next level and grow. So guys, I appreciate it so much, and I wish we had 8 more minutes. I do got something to do. I have to do it 10, but man, thank you guys so much for another
Appreciate you having me.
Thank you,
awesome Coffee
Yeah.
and Cash deals. And
Thank you for having both of us, man. Meet you in person.
I know,
bro.
man. It was cool.
Yeah, bro, I appreciate it.
I love you guys as guests. Please, guys, if you're out there and you're watching this thing, share this. Please follow Noah. Please follow Anthony. But check them out. These guys are running great businesses. They have great hearts, and they're great people. And you add that all together, they're the people you want to surround yourself and be in part with when you're doing business. So, guys, again, thanks so much. We'll see you next Wednesday for another episode of Coffee and Cash Deals at 9 a.m. on Wednesday, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care.
All right.
Thanks, everybody.
Cheers.